All right, today we're tackling a big one. How can we be a little less miserable? We're going to dig into the science behind why our brains seem to love negativity and what we can actually do about it, all based on some great insights from Lybi.
So, have you ever had this happen? Your mind just gets totally hijacked by the worst case scenario. You find yourself replaying some dumb mistake over and over, or getting all worked up about a future that hasn't even happened? Well, if you have, you're definitely not alone. And it turns out there's a really good reason why our brains do this. So what is at the very heart of this feeling? Well, it all comes down to a built-in feature of the human brain. It's kind of like a default setting, but here's the good news. It's a setting that we can learn to change.
The official name for it is the negativity bias. You know what this is. It's when you can get 10 compliments and one tiny criticism, and what do you spend all day thinking about? Yep, the criticism. It's just our brain's natural habit of giving way more attention to the bad stuff than the good stuff.
And that word in the quote, hijacks, is just perfect, isn't it? Because that's exactly what it feels like. This bias isn't just some small inconvenience. It can literally take the wheel, locking you in this miserable cycle of stressing about the past and freaking out about the future.
Okay, but why are we built like this? To get that answer, we've got to look back, like way, way back into our evolutionary past. This is not a modern problem at all. It's an ancient feature.
And this part is so important to remember. If you get stuck in those negative thought loops, it is not a personal flaw. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just your brain running on some very old software. Software that, once upon a time, was incredibly useful.
I mean, think about it. For our ancestors, survival was the whole game. The ones who were super jumpy and hyper alert to every little rustle in the bushes, well, they were the ones who lived long enough to become our ancestors. The chill, laid-back caveman probably became lunch. And this shows the huge mismatch we're dealing with today. Our ancient alarm system, the one designed to scream saber-toothed tiger, is now being set off by things like a vague email from your boss or seeing someone else's perfect life on social media. The hardware is the same, but the threats are, let's just say, very different.
Okay, so now that we get the why, we can finally start talking about the how. How do we deal with this? And the very first step is a pretty radical shift in how we think about our own feelings. This is really the core message we need to hear. Instead of constantly fighting or trying to suppress these so-called negative emotions, we need to start seeing all of them as just part of being a complete human being.
You know, most of us operate with this narrow view, where we label our feelings as either good or bad. But the full view is way more powerful. It's about treating your feelings like data. Anxiety isn't bad, it's just information, a signal that you might be facing a threat. Sadness isn't bad, it's a signal that you've lost something. They're messengers, not enemies.
And when we spend all our energy trying to push away half of our emotional experience, we're actually holding ourselves back. We're cutting ourselves off from really valuable information that could help us learn and grow.
This question really just hits the nail on the head, right? The highs in life are only so sweet because we've experienced the lows. By actually accepting the full range of what we feel, we open ourselves up to a much deeper, more authentic kind of joy.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. All this internal work you do, it has a huge external impact. This isn't just about making you feel better, it's about how you affect literally everyone around you.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's called emotional contagion. Basically, your internal state, your mood, your mindset, it's like a Wi-Fi signal that you're constantly broadcasting to everyone nearby, whether you realize it or not. A study showed this perfectly. They had people just sit in a room with someone who was highly motivated. And what happened? Their own motivation went up. And yeah, the opposite was true too. We literally catch moods and mindsets from other people just by being around them. This is such a powerful thought. If your inner state is contagious anyway, then taking care of your own mind becomes this amazing act of service. When you choose to cultivate peace inside yourself, you're also choosing to spread that peace to others.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that while our brains might be wired for worry, we are not helpless. We have the power to understand that wiring and to consciously choose a different path, one that influences not just our own life, but the lives of everyone around us.
So, let's just recap the key points. First, remember your negativity bias is just an old echo. It's not a personal flaw. Second, treat all your emotions like they're valid pieces of data. Third, Don't forget that your inner state is contagious. And finally, and most importantly, you have a choice. You can choose to cultivate and spread peace.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Knowing that your feelings have this ripple effect, what feeling are you going to choose to broadcast out into the world today?